Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe, as we like to call him in-house, Mr. KK. You've been with us just for 10 minutes and the atmosphere already.
And especially good morning to Adiswa. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Good morning.
Happy birthday, Adesua.
Thank you very much. I have to say too. Happy birthday, Adesua.
All right, so we proceed with the newspaper review.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll start with This Day on Sunday. The lead story here says on Army Day, Tinubu hails soldiers, says Nigerian Army is pride of the nation, insists Nigerians must be safe in their homes, markets, highways. Strong words there and encouraging words from the Commander-in-Chief to gallant soldiers on Army Day. And on top of that story, a federal government is speaking. Samoa Agreement enabled 1.7 billion euro grants to Nigeria for projects. And the riders debunks claims that $150 billion will accrue to Nigeria from the agreement, says fake news will no longer be taken lightly. I think that story ties neatly with the cover picture showing two honorable ministers there, the Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Alhaji Bagudu, and of course the Information Minister, Mohammed Idris, who both addressed a press conference yesterday on this Samoa issue that a lot of people are thinking there's $150 billion accruable to Nigeria, and that the government is not being, has not made full disclosures as far as the suspected LGBTQ component or the Samoa Agreement might affect Nigeria. But the ministers have been very serious about correcting the impressions, and I think a lot of people can now at least chill a bit, knowing that it's only about 1.7 billion euro grants that will accrue to Nigeria and not the $150 billion. On top of that story, Biden, we took that story earlier in the program. Only God can convince me to quit presidential race. That's on page 5 of today's This Day. Only God can convince him. That word is a bit tricky. Only God can convince him. Only God can take me out of the race. But this is the president of the most powerful nation in the world, apparently battling to convince his party members and indeed the entire American nation that he's up to the task at 81. On top of the masthead, nationwide blackout as power grid collapses 4th time in 2024. Since last night, we've been reading about, how this calls to question, maybe the competence on this or the suitability of those who are in charge of the power sector, particularly the Honorable Minister. But we believe that Bayo Adelabu will have something to say about what is going on. When the Labour NLC went on strike the other time, you recall, of course, that the whole nation was practically against the part of what they did when they allegedly shut down the national grid, and people were saying that it was, a sabotage, it has a security component, but this is the power grid going down again for the 4th time in 1 year, in 7 months, and a few people are still there, giving excuses. Anyway, the window story, Komolafe and I, of course, they're not referring to KK, NUPRC's digitalization of licensing, permit processes reduce corruption by 70%. That's an interesting one there. And basically, those are the stories, KK. I'm sure that 2 or 3 might be of interest to you in giving deeper analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. start on the note that, say, in a way, Happy New Year to Muslim viewers. Today is the New Year Day, in the Islamic calendar. That is the equivalent of January 1 in the Gregorian calendar. So, Happy New Year to the Muslim viewers. No public holiday. Yeah, yes, you're right, Steve. The cover story, the cover picture. The cover picture, is an extension of one of the major stories on the front page of this day. So maybe we should start with that even before going to the lead story.
Yes.
It's a huge irony that you have these agreements signed in Samoa.
Yes.
That instead of discussing the content of the agreement, which is the 1.7 billion euros, that will be available to Nigeria for development purposes. What you're having is the monumental distraction, about whether Nigeria had been coerced to sign an agreement to tolerate activities of LGBT in Nigeria. Now, this is a newspaper review, and I think it's important to talk to editors. If there has been proper editing, this story will not be there at all. Yes, perhaps the various NGOs and activists, either pro or anti-LGBT, are entitled to their conspiracy theories. They can go with it. But it's the duty of the editor that before you publish anything, you should be sure that what you are publishing is the fact. And in this matter, it's so elementary. You are talking about an agreement, a document, which is available. So if somebody comes to you and tells a reporter that, that agreement Nigeria has signed, what is important about it is not even the value of the grant, but that Nigeria has signed has signed the agreement to promote LGBT. The thing is simply to look for the document
and read it,
and find out what exactly is contained there. And that would have put pay to the whole thing, rather than just I'm creating this diversion, from what is the real issue,
And putting it on the front page.
I'm putting it on the front page, and more also that and you are talking about a very sensitive story because because the matter of LGBT in Nigeria is a very sensitive one, and more also in this matter, people don't think that in every matter that the government is a fair game. It shouldn't be that way, because you are portraying the Nigerian government as a lawless government. Because how could a government go ahead and sign an agreement, that will violate its own law? Already, there's a law in place on LGBT and other matters. So it is quite unthinkable that a government will now sign an international agreement which will be in dissonance, with the existing law, So I think the lesson in this matter is that what is pushed to the public, that editors should pay attention and play the proper role of the gatekeeper, which
I'm
is
so happy you have said that, because I felt like that was dangerous, actually,
I agree with you on this one.
Because you're contributing to current mistrust and distrust with the government, and the issue is to what end? When you create, this type of such a huge claim. I wonder to what end that was done, because it is very dangerous, especially when the clauses there are talking about gender disparities, which has to do with women and men, which has to do with, make sure children have access to education, and such clauses.
Which is a legitimate issue.
Which is a legitimate issue.
Yeah.
And distracting from a legitimate issue, but also endangering, people by creating such a false story on such a high level, I think it's highly irresponsible.
I agree with you. Just this tendency to portray the government in the bad light on every issue, I think it's unfair. Yes, it's the duty of the media, the duty of the public, to hold the government to account, to be critical, to point out their faults. But at the same time, it is also important on the part of the media and the public also to be responsible. It is not a democratic right, to tell lies, about government. Just as it is wrong for government to tell lies, to the public. I think, that principle should be maintained.
Yeah. I think I read that the government says in my take the legal option on that particular issue. The government will be within its right if that's what they've decided.
That is open to the government. Yeah. The lead story of this day, I think it's also the lead story of the Tribune. Is important in the sense that it was a day is set aside to celebrate the army. Why it is important is that because of the situation in which we are, and given the experience in recent years about insecurity and the expectations from our armed forces and the whole security sector in general, we spend a lot of time criticizing them legitimately, questioning and making demands in terms of expectation. And that is why we always invoke this section of the Constitution that says that the primary duty of the government is security and welfare of the people. And now that a day is set aside to celebrate the army, I think what the president has done is quite in order, and that is to salute the army, and describing them as a pride of the country. And I think beyond saluting also that an occasion like that also should cause a reflection on the condition, of the men and women, who are in the armed forces, Because while we discuss the role of the armed forces, the role of security people, we hardly give enough thought to the fact that if you go to the hospitals, people who have been wounded, soldiers, other members of the armed forces, the police, security agencies who have been wounded in the course, of duty, Not to talk of the condition, of the widows, and the orphans of those who, have been falling, in the trenches. So that so it is quite appropriate to have occasions like that, to actually show empathy, and solidarity, with the armed forces, and actually that despite the fact that we expect so much from them, but that even the sacrifice that made that is applauded and is duly recognized,
Yeah.
Yeah, the other story, just to take before we move on to other people, the one I think which interests you, and that is the foreign story.
Which one? The Biden one.
Oh, Biden.
I think it's of interest to me.
I agree with Steve that the interpretation, I think, we should leave that to the theologians, because I think whether God convinces people or just decide to take action on what it is that is appropriate. But what I think is intriguing that the old man has remained very stubborn, and very stoic in his spirit that he will soldier on and will have it, His supporters, those who are the enthusiasts of the Biden project, believe that, that as we move nearer the election, that the momentum, that the tempo will change, and they will be more active. But the pessimists, believe that, maybe.
No, but do you believe that he should have just maybe kept him moving and come back in September and proved himself, as opposed to coming out and saying, it's because I've been traveling, because I'm tired, I had a cold, I almost fell asleep on stage.
But that was in a private meeting to sponsors, no? So it wasn't like a media statement, it was a private meeting to sponsors.
Well, still going to get out, he's the president.
Yeah,
and then at the interview with ABC,
yes.
he also,
I mean, the press secretary did come out and say that the president has a cold, but we should move on. They have to discuss it. It's a topic. It's an election cycle. You can't just act like it's not brewing.
Okay. Let's move on now to.
Let's leave that to the strategies of the Democratic Party.
Okay. Let's go to this day's style. And we're celebrating love. Love in the spotlight. Celebrity weddings from the first half of 2024. I just have to say before I even go into this that January to June of this this year, just wedding up and down. If you are single in this season, sorry for you.
Are we not happy for them?
No, I'm happy for them. Just, they're oppressing we single ladies and men, of course. But let's go to the cover notes. The first half of 2024 has been nothing short of a whirlwind, with celebrity weddings popping up almost every other day. It seems like every time you blink, another star-studded couple has either announced their engagement or tied the knot. These weddings have ranged from intimate gatherings to grandiose celebrations, each one offering its own unique charm and setting new trends in fashion and style. So on that cover, we can of course see the biggest wedding of the year, David and Chioma Adeleke. From insurance to assurance to now she's now in David's house as his wife. There's Vicky James and Femi Atere. Vicky James is of course a renowned designer who actually a renowned designer as well. And Sharon and Ugo Wonke. Sharon Oja, of course, is a very popular actress. She's in Netflix's Olo Ture, the main lead. Got married
Is
to.
that the marriage that was
that was
trailed by number 4 or 4 or something? But that's a wedding, right?
That was streamed by.
That was the rumors that she was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You're so shady. And then, of course, there was a Kunle and Bola Tiwi Remi. Kunle Remi is a Nigerian actor known for,
This was like a few months ago, right?
Yeah, but this year as well, because we're looking at the first half of the year. There was also Wofai and Taiwo Cole, which was also very controversial.
With the understory.
Yes, I mean it's interesting. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of these weddings, I guess because it's in a public space, celebrity weddings always end up being controversial or dramatic. People feel that they have opinions.
Maybe not controversial.
No, Wofai and Taiwo's might have been a bit controversial because the in-laws had come out to give that speech. But I mean,
and then there was also the age issue.
Well, they are married now. I've seen a couple of their posts. They're still growing strong. There was also Marie and Moses Bliss Enang. Moses Bliss is a gospel artist, if I believe, so another celebrity wedding. And finally, Ashley and Theophilus Sunday. Of course, congratulations to all the couples. I tap into the anointing of wedding.
That's of the celebrity wedding.
It doesn't have to be a celebrity, just getting married and settling down, Yeah.
Be sure what
Be
you
careful
ask.
be careful of what anointing you're tapping
Let your
into
prayer
there.
point be very clear.
Very clear.
A happy home and wedding, not controversial, not dramatic.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
that's
you know
my
those
prayer.
that you shouldn't invite to your wedding?
Who?
I mean, those that will now...
What, like the bloggers and that?
And the tall cars and stuff, But KK, what are your thoughts on this beautiful cover?
Congratulations will be in order for all the young couples.
Yes.
I wish them happy married lives.
What's your advice to them as they go on this journey of mine? I'm just pulling your leg.
I don't have competence in marriage counseling. I know my areas of competence.
Well said, KK. Let's go to Sunday Telegraph.
You know what? Let's go to Sunday Telegraph, and we're going to take the lead story there. The headline is Insecurity, Pandemonium as herdsmen and Motekun clash in Ondo. The writer there says operatives injured over evacuation of 120 cattle from farmland. Illegal miners tell Niger governor to focus on, in quotes, Boko Haram miners. So this is illegal miners saying that there are other terrorists, miners. Then we're not the bad ones. We're just the normal criminals. There's terrorists. There are other terrorists you should focus on. We're not bandits. Since there's a hierarchy in insecurity, pandemonium in Ondo, the cattle snatching and also illegal mining. KK, what are your thoughts on this main story here?
Yeah, I think it's a central story, given the mood of times, because we're talking about insecurity, I think what it calls for is this question of synchronization, of the operations. Some of these, coincide, what is it called, security, outfits, with the official, or rather the established, security outfits. For them to be able to achieve the purpose for which they were established, there's need to ensure harmonization, in terms of their operations, so that we'll be able to avoid, this, because if, for instance, if you have the Amoteco in this instance,
yes,
working with the police, of course, who are more professional, more systematic in their approach, then perhaps you avoid, this sort of pandemonium. But the other interesting story there, which I think we should look at, is the Nnamdi Kanu story. Well, it's speculative, though. I mean, I've read the story. It's speculative that while FG may not give unconditional freedom to the IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, but I think that you are having this kind of speculation at all, and that the matter is now on the front page, almost on a daily basis, has reinforced, this proposition that ultimately that the Nnamdi Kanu question is a political question. That we are not going to have a definitive resolution of it, as a matter of fact, because I mean that's true, with I mean it's a matter that is the heart of the geopolitics, of the country, so that without prejudice, to whatever is going on in the court, which is, should be respected. I think that the authorities, should have another look, and listen, to all the proposals, especially, those coming from the southeast, that a political solution, should be found so that we'll be able to, resolve the question. Because the thing is like a short term, as long as Nnamdi Kanu is in detention, you cannot say that, politics in the southeast, I mean, cannot be said to be normal, and that is why you say that it's, getting the full attention, because that, I mean, that fact must be well stated, the full attention of the faction of the political establishment located in the southeast. I mean, nobody should have any illusion as to the fact that there is no unity of purpose, within the faction of the political establishment in the southeast on the matter of Nnamdi Kanu. I mean, there could be different perspectives, whatever. But I think this again, is a reminder that a political solution ought to be found to the problem.
All right, Kiki, we have to run, but very quickly, because it concerns our profession, I thought that I should mention the story on the window of Sunday Tribune, where the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is speaking. Stop reign of impunity, flagrant violation of citizens' rights. Atiku flees Nigeria police, and the rider expresses worry over indiscriminate arrest of journalists under the guise of cybersecurity law. I hope that the police will listen to that, because coming from a former vice president, well said. Yeah. All right, KK, thank you so very much, as always, for this beautiful analysis, interesting, jovial, but of course very cerebral. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching, and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
Well, I'm Adesua Giwa-Sage.
And I'm Shaitan Atigari. For my entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria, enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.